You were drinking yesterday, weren't you?
Yes, I was, so I apologise for how shit I look today. But if I was drinking yesterday, that means today, hair of the dog.
Yeah, I went down to the kitchen last night and found that massive empty box of beer.
Oh, there was 20 beers in here. How many beers are in the fridge? 3. Karl had 17 beers in one night. What a ledge.
That's a lot of beer.
It is, isn't it? But you know what? Still got 3 left.
And you're not an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just good at drinking.
It's not a skill.
I think it is. Right, into the bin. Come on, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's close. Mr. T is one of those names it's impossible to forget, partly because it's only 3 letters and syllables long, but mostly because it belongs to a guy who in the 1980s communicated solely through smack talk and haymakers, both of which he'd happily use against anyone who didn't refer to him as Mr. fucking T.
Okay, so before we get started, what is Mr. T's real name?
Mr. T.
No, it's in his legal name.
Oh, the one he writes on documents and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. T. It's his legal name.
Wait,
he legally changed his name to
He
Mr. T.
legally changed his name?
Yes, his first name is Mr. and his last name is T. And apparently he does get letters to his house addressed to Mr. T. And if anyone doesn't believe me, here's Mr. T himself confirming that's how you spell his name. Obviously, Mr. T wasn't born Mr. T, and before he was known by the 3 most iconic letters in pop culture history, he was known as Lawrence Turreau, a name I'm probably mispronouncing, and it doesn't really matter because he's not called that anymore, is he? Oh man, a lot of retakes for that last one. Already 1 beer down. Oh no! Oh, it's leaking, it's fine. Shh, good. I'll put it above.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'll put it above Brad's computer where nothing's going to go wrong. Just a beer leaking onto it. It's fine, give me the line.
I just like the fact that now that I'm gonna mention this like the 17th take and people aren't gonna believe it.
Oh, no, they're not, No. Well, now we can't put this take in.
We can't put this take in.
We can't because you've been talking for too long.
But it's fine.
So that funny joke's gone now. Fuck it. Right, let's go. Give me the line.
Lawrence Turreau is already a cool name.
It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it, Brad? It's almost like we've made this joke before and I fucked it up because I've been drinking beers at 11 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, Lawrence Turreau, even discounting the Turreau part if I'm mispronouncing that, like, Lawrence itself is a fucking awesome name. I feel honoured having Lawrence in my mouth. Have fun with that sound clip, guys. We've definitely not made that joke already. Shut up, Brad. We're trying to get through this. Me and you, we'll do this. We'll get to the end. Like, Lawrence Turreau, it's like Lawrence is one of those names that's just cool on its own. And we know this because like one Mr. Larry Fishburne changed his name from Larry Fishburne to Lawrence Fishburne.
What's a new fact?
I know, you've just learnt this today. It's like, it's so fucking cool, that name, isn't it? Like, if you bring up Morpheus, put a picture of Morpheus behind me, and now put underneath the word Larry. Just like, and people at home just look at that and just think, do you think this guy is a Larry?
I'm putting that in Comic Sans.
No, it's like, is this guy a Larry? No. Now bring up the name Lawrence. That's the way you do it, man. But what I want you to do now, Brad, bring up a picture of Larry Fishburne in his first ever role, then put Morpheus at the other side, and put Larry under one and Lawrence under the other. That's how you get, that's a fucking glow up right there, isn't it, man? I still get pissed off when Lawrence Fishburne doesn't walk around wearing the Morpheus costume all the time. I want him to appear in other movies that he's in. I want him to be in the Batman movies as dressed as Morpheus. Is there an actor you can think of where you just want them to wear one costume from like one role in all of their roles?
Conan. Schwarzenegger.
Oh, you want to wear the Conan outfit and everything? No, man, I want fucking Ian McKellen to wear the Magneto outfit and everything. But he's got to wear the really shit Magneto helmet. But I just want to see just Ian McKellen doing Macbeth. And he's just wearing the Magneto helmet. That's all I want. That's all I want from my life. But moving back to like Lawrence Trudeau. No, that's the president of that's the Prime Minister of Canada, innit? Turreau. Fuck's sake. God damn it, I'm going to drink some more beer.
I'm not cutting now.
Right.
But this is your take.
Yeah, moving back to like Lawrence Turreau. Like, it's one of those names that like actors get told to change, isn't it? It's like you hear it and go, all right, this name's cool, but you've got to change it because it's hard to pronounce. And that's a big thing in Hollywood, apparently. My favourite example is, like we've already mentioned, Mr. Schwarzenegger, who, for people who don't know, was credited in his first role as Arnold Strong. Because his agent said no one would be able to pronounce Schwarzenegger, so they called him Arnold Strong. And I mentioned that movie so Brad can put the clip in of when Mr. Strong is in that movie and he beats up a guy in a bear costume. He just ineffectually slaps this giant bear costume man with his wrist. It's great.
That's the one where they dub him, isn't it?
Yeah, they dubbed over Arnold Schwarzenegger because his voice was that terrible. I feel so bad for him earlier. Another one for British people was like Pete Postlethwaite. I don't even know if I can pronounce his name correctly. He was famously told when he started acting they wouldn't have enough light bulbs to put your name in light, so you should change it. And he was like, oh, I found that funny. And when my agent told me to change it, I went, nah, it's all right, because there's not going to be another Postlethwaite, is there? So, which is good. It's a good idea as an actor, isn't it? Yeah, you could have changed it to something more generic. But now I remember his name, and the only thing I know he was in was fucking Jurassic Park. I love Pete Postlethwaite as well, because Steven Spielberg said he's the greatest actor I've ever worked with, and he worked with Richard fucking Attenborough. That's a fucking compliment right there. The best actor I have ever worked with, Pete Postlethwaite. It's like, yeah, go Britain. Go the North. Yes.
Right, so we're at the 22-minute mark, and we finally got that bit done.
The first paragraph of the article.
We've had a good laugh.
Okay, we have.
All right, so why did Mr. T, or what he was called
Lawrence
originally,
Turreau.
yeah, why did he change his name?
Oh, because of racists.
There goes the mood.
Just bye. Oh, what's that going out the window? Is that a good time? I'll come in a bit. So, yeah, he changed names because of racists.
Why did he change his name because of racists?
Well, when Mr. T was still going by Lawrence Turreau, he would get really annoyed by the fact that racist assholes would constantly refer to him in a dismissive or disrespectful manner, which I find really hilarious because in the 1980s, Mr. T worked as a bouncer and he appeared on a show called like The Toughest Bouncer in America, which he won, and which involved him doing this, which for people who can't see the image, they're just currently blinded by the fabulousness of that suit, is he's literally throwing a guy like 13 feet through the air, and people still gave him shit for being black by not referring to him by his first name. We can all agree that racists can go fuck off, but those racists in particular, they've got some big balls on them, I'll admit that, because holy shit, would I not go up to Mr. T in his physical prime and start giving him shit for being black when the only thing I know about him is that he's an ass-whooping, dick-stomping badass. And the only thing I've ever seen him in, other than the front door of a club, is on TV, literally throwing a guy like 6 feet through the air. Can we talk about that bouncer competition as well? Because people might not think this is a real thing. It was a short-lived TV series called America's Toughest Bouncer, I believe. And Mr. T won it outright by competing in various events to prove how tough a bouncer he was. One of which was, as the picture there shows, throwing a guy through the air. And I thought this was fake when I first saw it, because it's the joke from The Simpsons, isn't it? It's the bartender, like, Olympics, where Moe's got to throw the lush. And it's throwing the lush out of the bar. No, Mr. T actually fucking did that, and he won the competition by throwing a guy through a wooden door, like, and then 6 feet through the air on top of that, and then beating a guy who was 300 pounds in a boxing match in under a minute. And that's the thing that got him into Rocky as Clubber Lang. Because, like, Sylvester Stallone heard about this, like, huge, big, buff black dude who was beating the shit out of a guy like twice his size in under a minute. I'm trying to think now how ballsy and or stupid you would have to be to start a fight with that man. It's like, there would be 3 hits in that fight. It'd be Mr. T hitting them hitting the floor, and the ambulance hitting 90 as it's driving into the hospital. What are you going to do? What are you thinking, racists in the 1980s? Don't be racist to that guy.
I'm pretty sure it's just natural selection at work.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Like, they're just going to get their teeth knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, and learn a valuable lesson.
Learn a valuable lesson.
Don't fuck with Mr. T.
Don't fuck with a guy who can throw you like 8 feet through the air. Don't fuck with a guy who won a competition called America's Toughest Bouncer and is currently working as a bouncer. Also, he was in the army as well. So you knew how to fuck his shit up that way. And there's a great story I'm going to bring up now as an idea of like how strong Mr. T was. There's a famous story when Mr. T was in the army, and as a punishment for something he did wrong once, his like commanding officer said, okay, cut down some trees, thinking he'd get knackered after like 3 hours and they'd find him passed out. They came back like 6 hours later and found out he chopped down every tree in like this tiny forest, and we just sat there going, I ran out of trees.
Oh my god.
People still give him shit. What are you doing? No. I feel so bad for the people who are giving him shit. I kind of want to go back in time and like warn them, but then I remember they were being racist. So I just turn up and I go, oh wait, guy, no, don't give that guy, oh, boy. Ooh, you know what? You know what? You do you. Let's see how this plays out.
It's one of those situations where you want to send in the time haters.
Oh, the time haters.
But you know they'd be useless.
They would, wouldn't they? The time hater, Dave Chappelle in his pimp coat turns up. Because back in times, like, I am not going to stand for this racial injustice that's happening here. See someone called Mr. T boy, and then he goes, hang on, you know what, this guy's got this. Let's just sit back and watch. Come on, Charlie Murphy, let's go back to Ultra Heaven. Yeah.
Dave Chappelle's not dead.
Charlie Murphy can get him in. Ultra Heaven comes with many benefits, Brad. We've established this. One of the benefits is you can get people into the club.
Yeah, but the living people.
Yeah, if you want. You can go up there, you can schmooze. You can schmooze with the dead people. Are you telling me David Bowie doesn't have the power to invite people who are alive to heaven and then send them back? Are you telling me he doesn't have that power?
No.
Are you questioning the power?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Are you questioning the area?
Don't look at me like that.
You're not a true areologist, Brad. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself though, so just go back to when Mr. T was still going by Lawrence Turreau and was working as a bouncer. And he felt like customers at the clubs he worked at weren't giving the appropriate amount of respect to a man with arms as large as his.
So is this the point where he decided to change his name?
Yes, Mr. T went and legally changed his name to Mr. T, including the period, which I believe is his middle name. Purely so that customers, and indeed anyone wanting to converse with him, had to call him Mr. There's no joke there, that's just fucking awesome. You do you, Mr. T. Shine on, you crazy diamond. In a 1984 interview with Jet magazine, Mr. T expanded upon his reasoning for wanting to go by the name Mr. T, telling the interviewer that he'd grown up seeing his father be referred to as boy purely because he was a black man. And he noted that he was frustrated that, as a black man, he had to fight, sometimes physically, for the right to be referred to in a way he didn't find insulting.
So that was why he decided to change his name then?
Yeah, he changed it to Mr. T so that everyone he encountered had to call him Mr.
You could just not call him Mr.
Oh yeah, those racist people I mentioned earlier still could call him boy if they wanted to, but they would have to contend with the arms. So they could be a racist and face the arms. Would you want to face the arms? I would not want to face the arms. Those arms look pretty big. I'm not messing with those arms. So you could, get the ass whooping of a lifetime, so you can sit there in your little hospital bed on your drip, just going, yeah, I sure told that huge big buff black guy what I thought of him.
I sure won that one.
I sure won that round as I'm sat here, just inhaling half my lungs out, shitting out my kidneys. Yeah, I showed him. Or you could just call him Mr. fucking T and get it on. Just go about your day without your ribs being pulverised.
So is his legal first name Mr. as in the 6-letter one, or just MR?
No, it's MR. So it's Mr.T. That's his name. And the best part is because MR is his first name, when he gets, like I mentioned earlier, when he gets letters and stuff, it's addressed to Mr. period T. And I'm kind of annoyed that he's not British and that he didn't change his name when he was like 14 or something like that, because then he'd be known in the UK on letters as Master Mr. T. So I'm not sure if there's a thing in America, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the UK, when you have a letter addressed to a minor, you're called Master. So we had a kid in our school it's called Bates is his last name, so all his letters said Master Bates on them. But if he changed his name to Mr., if he was Mr. Bates, so he'd be Master Mr. Bates. We're almost getting to tongue twister territory here with this name, because if Mr. T was a minor in the UK who happens to have a PhD, he'd be known as Master Mr. T with a PhD.
What if he also had an OBE?
Oh, so he'd be Master Mr. T with a PhD and an OBE.
What if he also lived by the sea?
So it'd be Master Mr. T with a PhD and an OBE who lives by the sea.
What if he was really free?
Oh, right, so it'd be Master Mr. T with a PhD who lives by the sea with an OBE who's also really free.
And what if he was really happy, filled with glee?
Oh, so it'd be Master Mr. T with a PhD and an OBE who lives by the sea who is really free and is happy and full of glee. Yeah! That was the first time we did it! Yeah! Beer can't stop me. Yes! You have no idea how happy I am that Brad didn't catch me out with that. Because he heard me flubbing Master Mr. T 6 times and I pulled all that shit off. Oh, I need another beer after that. Whew. Oh no. Pass me something. Have you got something to open my beer?
There you go.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You want to open my beer with a fucking TV remote?
Yep.
Never question my power after that. After that, my power is absolute and unquestionable. Let's talk more about Mr. T.
So it's currently the 46-minute mark of filming.
I'm so sorry.
And you still haven't mentioned the thing that's in the actual title.
Oh, Mr. T's mother. Well, yes, in the same interview with Jet magazine I just mentioned earlier, Mr. T revealed, hilariously, that he's so dead set on everyone referring to him at all times as Mr. T that even his own mother had started calling him Mr. at home. And this wasn't just for show when they're in public. Like he said, when we're at home on our own, my mum still calls me Mr. And if she doesn't, I correct her and make her call me Mr. If she doesn't call me Lawrence anymore, my name's not Lawrence, I'm Mr. fucking T. And that's just great. That's amazing, isn't it? His own mother called him Mr. T. Yeah. How fucking cool is that? I would like it though. If he changed his name to something really stupid. Because Mr. T's kind of stupid, but it's also kind of awesome when you know the reasoning behind it. So yeah, he's sticking it to racist, that's awesome. But if he was one of those people changing his name to like, just, I don't know, like his Xbox Live gamer tag. It's like, no mum, I'm not known as Karl anymore. I'm now 420 Snipe Bongs. And I refuse to be referred to as such. You must refer to me as such at all times, or I will throw a hissy fit of legendary proportions.
Reminds me of that Friends episode when Phoebe changed her name to Princess Consuelo Banana Hammer. And then Mike changes his to Crap Bag.
Yeah, just Crap Bag. First name Crap, last name Bag. Oh man,
if you're having trouble remembering it, think of a bag of crap.
That reminds me a lot of the story of Frank Zappa's son, who, if people don't know, Frank Zappa wanted to call him Dweezil. But everyone's like, that's a stupid name, calling something normal. So they called him a normal name until he was like 5, 6 years old. And I think when he got to 5, 6 years old, they told him, oh, your original name was Dweezil. And he went, oh, I like it, change it back. So they changed it back to Dweezil. So now his name's just Dweezil Zappa. That's fucking sick, isn't it?
Well, you know what Gary Neville's dad is called?
What's his name?
Neville.
So he's called Neville. That's amazing. Neville. You know what? You're never going to forget that, are you? So this is my dad, Neville. Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Neville. I'll just call me Neville.
Do you reckon if you change your first name to Doctor and then you got a PhD?
You'd be Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be basically a punchline, joke.
That's the thing though, isn't it? If you want, whenever you get a doctorate, change your last name for a week by a D poll. Just change to like Doctor Doom or something like that. So technically you're Doctor or Doctor Octopus or something stupid. There's plenty of people who've done it. So there's that great story about the guy who, to highlight how ridiculous flights are, I think he had a spelling mistake on his name, on his when he bought a plane ticket. And they told him, oh, it costs 300 quid to change, like, you know, the plane ticket to be a real name. So he changed his legal name by default to the spelling mistake.
Because it was cheaper.
It was cheaper to change his name to what the spelling mistake was than to change the plane ticket.
Wow.
And there's that other guy in there who, instead of getting a train to London, flew to Berlin and then flew to London because it was cheaper. Oh, man, what a hero. But yeah, Mr. T made his own mother call him Mr. T.
People make fun of your last name a lot, don't they?
Yes, they do. Please consult the comment section of any video we've ever released for examples of this.
Have you ever thought about changing it?
Funnily enough, no. I've had people tell me I probably should, because, oh, don't people make fun of it a lot? So, well, yeah. But they make the same joke I've heard since I was 10 years old. Oh, Smallwood, small penis. It's like, thanks. And that's what I do. I say thank you, and then just stare at them until they feel really awkward and walk away. But no, because when I first started writing, I was asked, like, do you want to write under a pseudonym? And I believe the editor for Cracked, which I wrote for at the time, and they messaged me, and I don't know who it was, so I'd like to thank them now. But they said basically, your name is quite unique, so I'd recommend just writing under your own name, because it sounds stupid enough where it could be a pseudonym. Because the first name, obviously, Karl, is spelt wrong. It's spelled with a hard K, which not many people spell Karl with, and Smallwood sounds like it's made up. So they just said, write under your own name, because people think it's not real anyway. And I'd like to thank them, because I still, to this day, get a message from people saying, okay, so what's your real name? It can't be Karl. No, I'd legitimately go by Karl Smallwood. And the thing I'm annoyed about now is we've started this channel, and I'm known by Karl Smallwood. And I find that it's great. It's my own name. It means it's easier for me. Because I didn't want to be known by a stupid fucking nickname. So I hated the idea of, oh man, if this ever gets big, everyone's going to refer to him like a stupid name. I don't even know what Markiplier's real name is.
Mark Fishback.
But like, he's now known as Markiplier or PewDiePie. He's known like.
Yeah, but if you had the surname Fishback, you probably would have called yourself Markiplier.
But if you're known, but I thought, oh man, it must be so bad to be known permanently.
PewDiePie is Felix Kellberg.
But to be known by this stupid name forever, you are now like, it's basically like my AOL screen name. I have to go by it for the rest of my life. I thought, you know what? No. But the thing is, the more and more success we have, the stupider my name feels because it's a real name. And I was started thinking, if I was ever if I go to a con or something like that and they say, oh yeah, like Markiplier, PewDiePie, it's like, oh yeah, and it's Karl Smallwood. I'm like such a fucking square.
Just change it to Smallwood. Just be the Smallwood.
It just looks so formal, and that's not what I'm about. But when you see it listed, because the fact there's even a space in the name makes me look so formal. But I don't have a nickname.
Yeah, but picture that convention. They go to Markiplier, and he's there just
They've
talking to his
got to
fans.
call him that, it's so
They've got
weird.
PewDiePie and he's there chatting to his fans. They turn to you, the formal Smallwood, and you're just there knocking back drinks, going, fuck off.
I don't think I'm on the same level as those guys, but they're just the only two I can...
Excuse me, you're in the fighting game with them.
No, that's why I'm mentioning it. You know what? Fuck it. Let's give this guy some credit because I respect the hustle so deeply.
I found this because the guy commented in the comment section of a video with his own link to his own game.
So, if people don't know, because I guess no one else is going to mention this because all the other some hero, some legendary big dick donger has gone out and made a fighting game, and what's it called? It's called YouTube Stupor or something. Stupor YouTube Brawls. Find the name and put it below.
Yeah.
And he's put in some famous YouTubers, including PewDiePie, Markiplier, Ninja Sex Party.
Matt Pat's in there.
Matt Pat's in there. And for some reason, me. For no reason, just me. And I respect the hustle so deeply because the guy didn't even ask me for my permission. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to jack your likeness and the logo of your channel and put it in. So you know what? I think though, none of the bigger guys, they've got millions, they're not going to listen to this, but I can. So I'm going to give him a shout out right now. Brad's going to put the trailer in with my cameo. And it's free. It's free to download. So go download this guy's shitty game and make me beat up PewDiePie. Do it for me. Because you know what? He's not going to download it, is he? I find it so hilarious because this guy's like, oh yeah, who do I get to sum up YouTube? And he picks these 6 names that are synonymous with a platform and me, some dipshit who makes fact videos. And I love the idea. It's like going to Mount Rushmore and just carving my name in the bottom. So you got fucking PewDiePie, Markiplier, Matt Pat and Ninja Sex Pie. And it's me, I'm here too, guys. And none of them know who the fuck I am. So I want to put that game out there. I want PewDiePie to play it on his channel.
You're like, who the fuck is this?
Fuck's this? that would be my dream. My dream would be one of those huge ass guys playing it and going, who the fuck is Karl Smallwood?
Why has he got better moves than me?
Why is he teleporting with a green screen? Why
has he got big wangers
I've
written on
not
him?
played it yet, and I hope my special move is like a green screen teleport. But I don't think it's that well made.
I saw something that I'm pretty sure it's something to do with lasers.
What? I don't have lasers. Because that's the thing.
You do now.
If I was going to be in a fighting game, my special move has to be teleporting to the green screen or turn invisible with it.
Someone said, do you beat them with your big wanger? Imagine if that got put into the game and PewDiePie loaded it up and was like, who's this guy called Karl Smallwood who's beating me with a giant dong? Your special move is just you flap out this huge wooden dong and start beating him with it.
I had nothing to do with the making of this game, but go buy it. And I don't think it's free. Go download it because it's so fucking stupid. To the guy who made it, you win. I'm not going to ask you to take it down. It's too funny. I laughed too hard when you made it. You get this one. Oh.
I've one final question, but feel free to not answer it.
What's that?
The surname Smallwood, has it ever come up in the bedroom?
Yes.
Leave it there.
That's the only answer you need.